If you're looking to elevate your sound as a drummer, one simple yet effective strategy is to focus more on where you strike the drums. In other words, your playing spots. To many, this may seem obvious, but really paying careful attention to this can make a huge difference. It's not just about what you're playing, it's about where on the drum you play and why. Let's start with toms. For two reasons, the very center should be your default playing spot. Number one, striking the tom in this area will activate its fundamental frequency, more so than any other spot. This equates to a fuller, richer, and warmer sound. Number two, this area will also produce the most volume output while requiring the least amount of input from the player. In short, it's easier to play loud in the center, but harder to play soft. So, what about the edge? Well, the edge is the complete opposite. As you play closer to the edge, you get a thinner sound with less fundamental, and even with high input from the player, the overall sound output is reduced. In short, it's easier to play soft towards the edge and harder to play loud. To demonstrate this, I'll keep my velocity the same while moving between the edge and center of this tom. Note that the volume decreases as I get closer to the edge, even though my velocity remains unchanged. If you use this feature to your advantage, you can dramatically enhance dynamic contrast in your playing. Take this single stroke roll, for example. It crescendos, gradually getting louder over 2 beats. Let's compare 2 ways to play it. Option 1, play the entire pattern in the center. Option 2, start at the edge and move to the center. For option 1, you'll want to start with a light touch to get the best dynamic contrast, because again, it's harder to play soft in the center. With option 2, the edge's softer, thinner tone allows for a compelling crescendo that requires much less focus on starting with a delicate touch. For the most dramatic crescendo, you can both start with a soft touch while also making use of the drum's edge. Let's compare these methods once more. For another exercise, practice single stroke roll crescendos and decrescendos. For the first 2 beats, grow louder and get softer in the next 2 beats. You can practice this on one drum or switch to a different drum every beat. As you can see, this exercise includes snare drum, but let's cover it in more detail. To do this, I've mapped out the snare's playing spots and labeled their effects. This horizontal bar shows where the snare wires are positioned underneath the bottom head. When playing the center, you'll get a warm tone with a tight snare response. Moving slightly up or down brightens the tone and extends the snare buzz. Let's compare. As with toms, the center is your go-to default playing spot. Its full tone and tight snare response is great for general playing and will also add clarity to rapid double-stroke roll figures. The outer regions are great for a brighter tone, less volume, and a longer snare response. This can help your buzz rolls feel more dynamic, smooth, and blended. Let's compare. Moving left or right also yields a brighter tone with less volume. However, the snare response remains relatively tight because we're playing in the snare region. For those reasons, I use this area when playing ghost notes. The edge makes it easier to keep the ghost notes soft and subtle, while the snare region keeps the articulation crisp and clear. When playing a groove with ghost notes and rim shots, I keep my ghost notes towards the center left edge and switch to the center for rim shots. Again, the edge is naturally softer than the center, so this will help with dynamic contrast between my ghost notes and rim shots. The general intent here is to become more mindful of the when, how, and why of your playing. The drum set is one of the most expressive and dynamic instruments with a massive range of tones and colors. However, as drummers, we might find ourselves overlooking this aspect of the instrument because we're often preoccupied with rhythmic precision, chops, timing, and so on. So I hope that this video got you thinking about the drums a little differently. After all, we have all this surface area to make sound, so why not make use of it? That's it from me, thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing if you've enjoyed the video.